you. Good morning and welcome to United Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Meg Whaley and I am your facilitator today. I am going to let Karen introduce herself in just a minute. First, I'm going to go through a couple of announcements. Ellen is not feeling well today, so there will be no social action meeting after the service today. Their current project is collecting items for Friends with Food. So the boxes are out in the foyer out here if you feel like donating anything. I also, Gilles, come on up.
Hello everyone, I'm Gilles. Good news is the auction is coming up next Saturday, so this will be the last time I will be bothering you about the auction in a while. So just an update on where we are. The online auction is open and live. It will be live up until this Thursday at 6 p.m. So it will close at that time. A reason for that is to give us a little bit of time then to close that out and have things ready for you for the live auction, for those few remaining items on the live auction. Well, not few, we got about 40. But those remaining items will then go on the live auction, which will be right here next Saturday. Please show up at 6 to register, and then we'll start actually then. You'll be allowed to bid on the items, basically starting at 6:30. Shane Rosenthal will be our caller, so it'll definitely be entertaining. And right now, just to give you an idea where we are on the online auctions, of the online items that we have, they're valued at $4,700. We currently have bids totaling $1,600. So what that means is that there's a lot of deals out there. In particular, we currently have 23 items with no bids. So what that means is, like normal, everyone's kind of waiting till the end. You've done a good job. Now you've done that very well. So now get on in there. It happens every time, so it's all part of the process. So now's the time to do that. Also, if for the online items or for it, we obviously are staying with the online format. If the online format doesn't work for you, what you can do is send an email or talk to me or Paula or Susan. Tell us what you want to bid, your max item, and we can enter that in for you on the sort of the back end of the system, if you will. And then also for those of you who are bidding online and you don't want to be tracking it all day, you can just tell the system, you can say what your max bid is, and it'll then track it all for you. So if you're busy, you can just look once, tell it your max price, it'll bid for you and not spend any more money than it needs to. So that's one thing to know about that. And then again, live auction here this Saturday at 6 p.m. We look forward to that. Thank you all for your support and interest. We'll keep going through with that. Also at the auction, there will be some light snacks and stuff available for purchase at the back of the room. And if you're looking to proxy bid for the night of the auction, then what to do there is to find a friend, tell them what you want to bid and their max item, and then let us know when you check in, and then you'll get a second paddle for that person, and we'll manage it that way. You don't actually have to pay for them. We can sort of settle up that we'll bill them separately, and we can settle up with them after. But so if you know someone who might be missing, you can let them know, hey, I'm willing to bid for you, and then it'll just be tied to that paddle. We'll know who they are, and then we'll send them a statement after the fact if they're not here. So that's how we'll handle it. If you just can't make it for whatever reason, next Saturday, you can participate that way. Any questions while I'm here and as we're getting closer? Okay, and the last thing, if it wasn't obvious, some of the items to bid are out here on display, so you can take some time to check that out. Thanks, everybody.
It's like the social event of the season, right? Really, our auction. And then all of the things that come after that are just really amazing. So if you've never been to our auction, and I see a few people out in the audience who have never been, and people at home, this is, if you want to come in for an in-person fun night, this is the thing to do. And we will have some really tasty items in back for sale. I'm looking at Maria right now because I keep on forgetting to ask her when I see her. And she's nodding. Okay, good. There we go. All right, and then Alex has an announcement.
Regarding the choir, we are going to start rehearsals back up next weekend for a performance of a piece at the end of the church here. Rehearsals will be at 9:30, and they'll go till about 10:15, and then we'll take a little break before the service starts. So this week I'm going to be sending out an email to who has been our existing choir, as well as the people who have reached out to me about being interested in the meantime, whose contact information that I have. If you are interested in joining us, you are welcome to just show up at rehearsal next week and we can talk about things then. If you would like to reach out in advance so that you can get the emails, then just reach out and contact me, send me an email.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And again, we have snacks and coffee for after the service. If you want to come down and speak with Reverend Karen a little bit more after the service, that would be a great place to do that, and just to share community and fellowship. I'm going to let Karen introduce herself now.
Thank you. Everybody has been so kind to me here as I learn the ways of this faith community, and it's just a joy for me to be here today with you. I have long appreciated working alongside David in mission ministry especially, and we've known each other a number of years. I myself haven't been preaching in 17 months, so we're going to use all the bloopers I make for good today, right? Yeah, a little rusty, but I'm excited to be here. I am recently retired. I call it refired from my home church of Tippy Faith and Community in the Bayview area, and I am often asked, are you Unitarian or Presbyterian? And the answer is yes. Yes. And today, what I hope happens is that all that has happened to me in this week, including time with the Bible wisdom teachings and people in my life, my prayers, many of them sung prayers, all of that ruminates within me in a way that what is prompted to be shared prompts you to take something with you that has meaning for your life. Because the only thing that really matters is what's prompted in you by today's experience of worship. So it's good to be here, and I just wanted to give you a couple of heads up. I don't know your hymnal, so I chose to use instead some meditative songs in place of many of the hymns that you would sing. They'll be on the screen, and they're very simple, repetitive, Taizé-like, threshold choir-like, very beautiful, simple melodies, and I encourage you to sing as you are comfortable, or sink back and listen, whichever has the most value for you this morning. I also want to say that we'll be using 3 Bible wisdom teachings, one from the book of Luke, and the other 2 are non-canonical gospels that were discovered again for the very first time, so to speak, in the Nag Hammadi finds in the 1940s in Egypt, one from Thomas and one from Mary. And I also will be using some poetry in our time together, and during the prompting itself, I will be using, especially near the end, 1 or 2 quotes, but I'm not going to name the source as I speak because that takes you away from the meaning of what they want us to grab onto. But those sources can be found in written form in my notes and the prompting as is shared with you in written form. And I think that's all. I'm really glad to be with you, and I'm going to take a breath and move into the service with you.
Every Sunday, we light the flaming chalice as a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Please join me in the words on the screen. May this flame kindle within us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Here together, we scatter and nurture seeds of spirit, service, and community. Thank you.
As our call to worship to deepen our reflection, I would like to share with you a poem called The Art of Developing a Beautiful Mind by John Donahue. And I will read it and you may read along. The world is not simply there. Everything and everyone we see, we view through the lens of our thoughts. Your mind is where your thoughts arise and form. It's not simply with your eyes, but with your mind that you see the world. So much depends on your mind, how you see yourself, who you think you are, how you see others, what you think the meaning of life is, how you see death, belief, God, darkness. Beauty is all determined by the style of mind you have. Your mind is your greatest treasure. We become so taken with the world, with having and doing more and more, we come to ignore who we are, forget what we see the world with. The most powerful way to change your life is to change your mind. When you beautify your mind, you beautify your world. You learn to see differently. In what seemed like dead situations, secret possibilities and invitations begin to open before you. In old suffering that held you long paralyzed, you find new keys. When your mind is awakened, your life comes alive and the creative adventure of your soul takes off. Passion and compassion become your new companions. Take a breath.
So for our hymns today, I would encourage you to just stay seated and, like Karen said before, sit back and feel into the music or sing along if that is something that you want to do. But we'll do those a little bit differently today.
Any energy I do not need may leave. Any energy I do not need may leave. Any energy I do not need may leave. Any
Next, I'd like to call the children up. We don't have our pictures on the wall today, so we'll read our book right up here, if you want to come up and see the pictures.
Or not, because we know that most of us are kids. Anyway, big kids. No kids, small kids, and mature kids. I've never read a children's book that really wasn't for adults. What's your name? Isabel? Declan. Nice to meet you. Oh, and here comes one more. Hi, and your name is Molly. Welcome. Can I come down? I will recognize you. You know, the Bible wisdom teaching, the story that I'm going to share is about these two guys walking along together, very perplexed and worried and upset. And the story goes on to tell how they come back to themselves and let go of some of those worries and concerns they had. But you know, when I was reading that story, getting ready for today, I realized that most of the time when I'm really worried and I'm really upset, there's nobody standing next to me. I got to work it out on my own. And then I remembered this story I had that talks about what we could do with our worries and frustrations and fears. And I'd like to share it with you, okay? The title is When Things Aren't Going Right, Go Left. Okay. One day, for no particular reason, nothing was going right. Absolutely, positively, nothing was going right. Ever have one of those? I can see by your eyes. So I decided to go left. The first thing I did, behind my worries. Now, when I read that, it became very important to me to realize she can get rid of them, she or he, knew exactly where they were. So when you need them next, you can pick them up. But for now, the story reads, I left behind my worries. Yep, I left them right there on the ground. They looked up at me and wondered, where are you going? But I just smiled and waved goodbye. Wait, they hollered, come back. What will happen to us? Oops, sorry. I simply shrugged my shoulders. You'll be fine. As I walked away, I thought, did I make the right choice? Should I go back and get them? Doubts crept in. So you know what I did? I left behind my doubts. Yep, I left them right there on the ground. They bellowed, you're making a big mistake. But I just gazed at the sky. They questioned, are you sure you're making the right decision? Have you ever asked that to yourself? Absolutely. Absolutely, I declared. With my worries and doubts left behind, I could finally think clearly. Sometimes feelings get in the way. I forged on until I came to a pool and a diving board I remembered all too well. The last time I tried to dive off that diving board, I splatted on my back. That really hurts, doesn't it? Yeah. I remembered the pain and how scared I was. I started thinking, maybe I shouldn't try this again. So you know what I did? I left behind my fears. Yep, I left them right there on the ground. They screamed, "Don't do it." I stood up straight, shoulders back, hands pressed above my head. "Stop," they cried, but I simply turned and gave them a wink. I leapt, splat, on my back once again. Oh, that stings. I thought to myself, this is impossible. It can't be done. So you know what I did? I left behind my frustrations. Yep, I left them right there on the ground. They yelled, "You can't do it." Again, I stood up, shoulders back, hands pressed above my head. They laughed, "Give up already." No way. Never. I leaped, feet together, toes pointed, legs straight, perfect. I did it. I started to realize the more left I went, the more right I felt. So, you know what I did? Yup. I kept going left. And before I knew it, everything was going right. As I walked home, I glanced at the ground, and I noticed something that I did not expect. My frustrations were a lot smaller. They're still there. My fears, a lot quieter. My doubts, a lot calmer. My worries, practically gone. So I decided to pick them back up. And you know what? They felt lighter now. You'd named them, got them to be the right size, and now they feel lighter. And they weren't so hard to handle anymore. And I realized it was okay to have them with me so long as I kept an eye on them and made sure that they didn't get too big or too loud or too overwhelming. But if they did, I felt like nothing was going, but if they did, and I felt like nothing was going right again, then I'd simply go left. When life's burdens start to feel too heavy, don't be afraid to put them down for a while. Well, that's the way this story is told. Listening to that story, what strikes you? What was it? Was there a surprise or a picture or a feeling in there that really stuck out for you? Are you used to talking at this point? Oh, sorry, I'm taking you out of your comfort zone. That's okay. To get it right, go left. Right? You know, when I read this story, at first I didn't like it because I know that my frustrations and my doubts and my fears are part of who I am. And they're not bad in and of themselves. There aren't anything. There's no such thing as bad feelings. But it's what you do with your feelings that matters. Do they help you find your way, or do they get in the way? So I have two things I do at home when I need to go left. I have a little worry bag. I made it. It's a paper bag. It's my worry bag. And when I can feel myself, that little voice making me afraid or doubting myself, I take them and I blow them into the bag and I close the bag. And then later, I open the bag back up and let them go out. And I know I was going to share a second thing, but it's gone from my head because that one really grabs me right now. Yeah. So think of a frustration or a doubt or a fear that you might be feeling. And when you're going right back to your seats, left it here, okay? And we'll take good care of it until you're ready to have it back again. Okay? Amen.
Let's sing the children out.
Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
So each week in our church, we take up an offering. It's good to remind ourselves that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We build our budget and fund our yearly programs and ministries of worship and religious education, pay our staff, professional religious leaders, and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. We pass the plate during worship to make a community expression of thanks for the blessing of abundance. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on a Sunday morning. The offering will now be received. In addition to our gifts each week, we build our sense of community by sharing milestones in our individual lives, those joys and sorrows that make up who we are. If you have something to share, please come forward to the microphone. Tell us your name and what's on your mind. Take a stone from the bowl as you do, and when you are finished, place the stone in the bowl with the water and let the ripples carry your concerns out to the wider community. We also do not put this on the video stream that's going out, so this is just in this room.
With you is our prayer.
Our Bible wisdom teaching for this morning is taken from the book of Luke, chapter 24, verses 13 through 35. Listen for the word just for you this morning. And as I begin, I will share with you that this story takes place on Easter afternoon. Now on that same day, 2 of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be crucified, condemned to death, and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him." Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it's almost evening, and the day is now nearly over." So we went in to stay with them. When he was at table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and he has appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of bread.
Our next reading is the Gospel of Thomas, saying number 5. Recognize what is in front of your face, and what is hidden will be revealed to you. For there is nothing hidden that will not be revealed. Our third reading is the Gospel of Mary 4, 1b through 4. The Blessed One greeted them all, saying, "Peace be with you. Bear my peace within yourselves. Beware that no one lead you astray, saying, 'Look over here,' or 'Look over there.' For the child of humanity is within you. Follow it. Those who seek it will find it."
Having heard the word, and before we see how the Spirit prompts us, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to share up close and personal with the divine, with God. And so before you is a prayer that may be a good fit for you, but if not, I trust you to be able to make it so. And just give you a few moments to read it, to ready yourself for moving forward in reflection. Amen. May this be the ground from which all new life grows. The ancient Christian intention and the modern Christian meaning of today's scripture parable found in Luke is found by saying, Emmaus never happened. Emmaus always happens. That is, this story isn't historical, probably never happened, but always does. When we are in communion, when we are communion one with another, our eyes and hearts open. This story is about actively demonstrating love, living love, not talking about it or reading about it or thinking about it or hoping for it. Rather, finding your right place in doing love, being love, welcoming the stranger, staying alongside, staying on the way. This is an Eastertide story of humanity finding itself, in finding and welcoming and sharing meal with each other, by being in relationship and staying alongside each other. We come to know something about ourselves we can't know any other way. By staying alongside each other, we come to know something about ourselves that we could know no other way. Holy, holy, holy. We journey toward holiness and wholeness this season. It is in that one moment, the breaking and sharing of the bread, when they finally recognize him, and he vanishes. Did he slip away? Did he etherealize? Did he think they didn't need him anymore? We don't know. But what we do know is that in that moment of communion, they get it. Bread and wine optional, actively caring and sharing not. Thomas says, recognize what is right in front of your face, and what is hidden will be revealed to you, for there is nothing hidden that won't be revealed. They see, experience the true meaning of the story, the meaning of their story, their lives, of truth, of truly living, of humanity's inner power to resist giving in to fear or confusion or self-doubt or the way things seem. Humanity's power to act individually together makes meaning and redeems what is possible. Now that's resistance. On the way to Emmaus, they come to see life differently, see each other differently, the stranger differently, see themselves differently. So a couple of years ago, an amazing thing happened to me. I was attending a Common Grounds delegate meeting, and someone who I had come to know through organizing together came and sat next to me, Francisco. We had come to know each other because we had been doing doors together on the south side of Milwaukee, helping residents organize themselves for change. And he commented to me about how much he enjoyed that time that we spent together and how much it meant to him. And I thought he was referring to the work we were doing together and the simple joy in just getting to know each other better. But that wasn't what he meant. He went on in what seemed a random way at first, saying, and the first part of this is pretty much a quote, the rest is my memory of the conversation. For much of my adult life, I have had a recurring dream that I was in Guatemala in the midst of the city and was desperately seeking a bus to take me home. I could never find one. I never make it home. He went on. Do you remember in our conversation, you sent me to look at some reflective questions I could use when I am out doing mission work on my own or with others? The ones on your webpage? Did you get a copy of them, I think? Yeah. An example would be, what is the thing most needed at this time in this ministry within me? Or what is God inviting me to do or be or know or become that's just about and just for me through this experience? He continued, those questions opened my eyes to an understanding about what it really is to serve. Deeply, I now know they are not my mission project. I am the mission project, their mission project. This is about God working in me for my good as I offer myself for the greater good. It's not about doing good or being an activist. It's about changing me and so seeing things differently. And you know that saying, right? When I change the way I see things, the things I see change. He said, I spent a lot of time reflecting on this, Karen. Pastor Karen, I no longer have that dream. I am home. Well, my heart overflowed, and as I've said that story to myself several times this week, this is the first time I haven't broke down and cried because of the dearness this story held for him. You see, he saw himself differently in the master story, in the universe. He saw his life's work differently. He changed the world as he changed himself. Today, in light of our wisdom teachings, we might say, Francisco's eyes opened and his heart warmed as he welcomed the stranger in him. He had an experience of holiness. He stayed alongside himself with all his questions in communion with his higher self. And knowing the whole of his story, he newly sees how to make meaning from it. Francisco became more fully Francisco, more human, more aware of his humanity, and in becoming more human, also became more divine. The more human we are, the more divine we become. Story plus experience in relationship, eye-opening, heartwarming, transformational. You know, maybe the journey isn't about becoming anything. Maybe it's more about unbecoming everything that isn't really you. So you can be who you were created to be in the first place. Maybe the journey is one of unbecoming, not becoming. And how shall you journey? In the wonder and shelter of a God closer than our own breath. Our better angel just up ahead, leading us on no matter how many times we stumble. O Holy One, help us to journey beyond the familiar and into the unknown. Give us the faith to leave old ways and break fresh ground with you. In Easter, we deeply come to know there is no force in the universe more powerful than a nonviolent, justice-seeking, wholeness-seeking you. We are so powerful. So stop giving your power away or giving it over. Resist. Get off the road you've been traveling if it's taking you nowhere. And think. Put your head in your heart and think. Which road will bring me to the place within myself where I can resist what is not working in my life, what is not just in the world? Which road will bring me to a place within myself where I am more fully human, more present to myself, and so more able to be present to those around me? Is that the road I'm traveling? When you begin taking even a few tiny steps on that way, He'll meet you there. Christ energy will meet you there. And we will too. So ask for the help you need. Our journeys are not the same, but if we meet on the way, on the path, may we encourage each other. For the path we choose now is not the one we've walked or even seen before. The path is one that appears beneath our feet with each step, and we persist. And the change we dream of has already begun to arrive. Take a few moments right here before we move on together. You normally end at 10:30 and we need to skip something. Do we need to skip something? Okay. Boy, that's hard to do. I would say this then. The message you heard, the message you're hearing, breathe it in. Breathe it in. Would you like to play the video? It's not going to play? No. Well, we're not skipping that totally. Okay. There's a beautiful music, beautiful repetitive sung prayer that goes, breathe it in, let it out, breathe it in.
Breathe it in, let it out. Breathe it in, let it go.
Thank you. As we get ready to leave today, I hope you found something during the service that you can take with you and carry it for the rest of the week to think about, ponder on, whatever it is that you need, and what you don't need, to let it go. I'm going to try to find a way to post the videos. There's one more that we didn't show you that Karen shared with us, and I'll see if we can send it out in the Tuesday post next week if you want any of this music to listen to personally. I think that would be a cool thing. And we'll end with our song.
Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. And I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say, it'll rain a sunny day. And I know it's shining down like water. Have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yesterday and days before, sun is cold and rain is hard, and I know it's been that way for all my time. Till forever on it goes, through the circle fast and slow. And I know it can't stop, I wonder. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Coming down on a sunny day.